just know, this is all part of a speech, so please don't get offended. This is just to make my point. You're all ugly, weak, pathetic, and aren't going to make it anywhere in life. Each and every one of you aren't worth anything. How did you guys feel after I made those remarks? I'm assuming each and every one of you felt like really bad inside. You all felt low, and well, I'm pretty sure a lot of you felt angry and wanted to do something to me, but for the sake of the speech, you guys know that I was just joking. If so, you've been bullied and now you understand what the poor kid in school would go through. I have a couple questions. Why do we constantly allow bullying to happen in front of us? Why can't we just stand up for that kid in school or in class that's constantly made fun of or bullied? We're the reason why bullying hasn't already ended, and we're the reason why it continues to happen. Until that bully is put into their spot, or until we actually stand up for that kid that is pushed, shoved, constantly called names, made feel bad, that's when the bullying will end. So today I am here to persuade you to stand up against bullying. By doing so, I will be explaining you the effects of bullying and also how it could lead to suicide. Now, I've done some research for the past week about bullying. I personally know what bullying feels like because I used to get bullied a lot all through elementary school and up to junior high until high school when I started hitting puberty and actually I got a growth spurt. So I guess that's when they stopped bullying, but for a long time I would get bullied and I just felt bad. Like I didn't want to go to school. I would constantly tell my mom and I would cry to her telling her that I don't want to go back to school because there was a kid that I would meet up with. Well, I wouldn't meet up with, but for some reason they would know where every one of my classes were throughout junior high. So to get a laugh at, he would go with his group and he would just start making fun of me. And I didn't want to say anything because I was scared to fight. Like I didn't have any, how do I say, confidence to stand up for myself. And now that I look at it, I would constantly see other people laughing and looking at me, and now I'm asking myself, I'm like, why isn't anyone standing up for me? Like if they see that I'm weak and I'm not gonna be able to do anything, at least somebody should have the nerve to stand up to the guy and tell him to stop what he's doing. Well, that wasn't the case. So according to stopbullying.gov, bullying can affect everyone: those who are bullied, those who bully, and those who witness bullying. Bullying is linked to many negative outcomes, including impacts on mental health, substance use, and suicide. Now, I'm going to break out to you what the bully goes through, what the person that is being bullied goes through, and the bystanders. Now, the person that's bullied usually has health complaints, which includes depression, anxiety, sadness, loneliness, change in sleep, change in eating patterns, and is antisocial, and has decreased academic achievement. The person that bullied usually abuses alcohol and other drugs. Well, later in life they will abuse alcohol and other drugs, get into fights, vandalize property, drop out, have early sexual activity, and have criminal convictions, abuse towards spouse and children. Now the bystanders, which are the people that look and don't do anything, have increased use of tobacco, alcohol, and drugs, increased mental problems, depression and anxiety, and miss or skip school. So in other words, everybody's affected. The bully's affected, the person that is watching is affected, and also the person that's being bullied, which happens to be the most affected, is everybody has their own, their own struggles that they go through. Now that I've talked to you about what bullying, how the bully, the different things that bullies go through, and what the person that's bullied and the bystanders, I'm now going to talk to you about suicide. According to www.bullyingstatistics.org, suicide is the third leading cause of death among young people. Each year, 44,000 students commit suicide, and 160,000 students stay home from school because of bullying. Both victims and perpetrators of bullying are at high risk of suicide according to the Suicide Prevention Resource Center. Now, like I've said, I was bullied from elementary school all the way up to like 10th grade. And throughout those years, like I felt very horrible. I felt very low, and there was a time where I wanted to commit suicide because I thought I wasn't worthy enough because of the things they would call me. They would say that I wouldn't make it in life. They would also say that I was pathetic. And so I found something that distracted me. I ended up joining boxing, which was through my 10th grade year all the way to my senior year. That's when like I lost all my weight because I used to be really short. I was like 5 foot and I was like really fat, so I was overweight. Once I joined boxing, like that brought up my motivation a lot because I was finally given the confidence to be able to stand up for myself and be able to whenever if a bully comes up to me or somebody starts to say names, like, no, I'm not scared to, like, you know, if I have to throw my hands up, then I'm gonna do that. Also, now that because of that, I could also defend other people because I've witnessed it and I've been through that and I've experienced bullying. So now anyone that gets bullied, like I'll stand up for them and I'll tell that bully, like I'll just put them in their spot and I'll let them know that what they're doing is wrong, that it's not funny and that it's not making them look cool. So in conclusion, I hope that this motivates you to stop bullying and to stand up for that poor kid in school that's constantly made fun of, told names, and also pushed around. Thank you.
So Daniel, what did you think?
Well, I thought his voice was very projecting more, and I could see the progression. Without speeches, he did good.
How can you see anything? I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead. I apologize. Yeah.
You're getting bullied.
There you go.
He was very involved in speech. He moved around a lot. I could see he kind of did that thing I did a little bit. He looked at his notes, looked up at that. But he did good. He made eye contact. I can see that. And I felt like his structure was it was there. It was there. I didn't hear a lot of transitions, but you know, maybe it's just I couldn't hear, but I can see. But overall, I think he did good.
Okay. I think you're apologizing too much at the beginning with the attention device. If you do it correctly, everybody would know that you were acting it out. And you say, well, let me apologize for what I'm about to do. Now let me do it now. See how bad you felt. And the truth is, I didn't feel bad about it at all. I think you need to be a little bit more assertive there. When you said, how did people feel? They probably thought, well, I feel just like I feel after Richard talks about my speech. It was berated and picked on. I think you need to not overdo the apology ahead of time. Be aggressive when you're doing your demonstration, and then explain what's going on. I think you'll be okay. It seems strange to me, though, that after you go through that whole process, you then blame all of us for allowing bullying to happen. So I'm going, okay. So why is it okay to blame us, but it's not okay to make these other kinds of negative comments on it? So I think you want to be a little bit careful about how you phrase that proposition. The preview is it's clear. It's a little direct, and it sounds like you've got the two parts to it, and the second part is all suicide, and that just seems like it's so in your face and so up front. And then later on, when you get to that point, it needs to be developed a lot more than it is. It's not that it's unimportant, but it feels like you escalate almost immediately from being picked on in school to wanting to kill yourself. And I'm sure that there are lots of variations and other issues that come between those two steps. With the frequency with which bullying happens, obviously there are a lot of other things that are likely to happen. I'm not trying to diminish the suicide element at all, except to suggest that it's not nearly as frequent as the bullying is. So somehow kids do get through this process, but that doesn't mean that they get through it unscathed. And I think that that's what you need to talk about also. I thought your transitions are relatively clear, but I could see them. Oh, what a smart ass I am. I should put the camera down there, point it, because you'll listen to that and you go, why is everybody laughing? It doesn't make any sense. And I thought you had some good internal signposts as you went along. I thought that was good. I didn't hear the sources being cited consistently, and I thought that was a little bit of a problem. You give us a list of all the bad things that are going to happen to bulliers. You talk about some of the bad things that happen to the kids who are bullied. You've got the suicide material that you're presenting, and I don't really hear any sources on that material. And I know that you are not making this stuff up, so why is it you're not telling us where you got that information from? I'm not quite clear. On delivery, I think your vocal enthusiasm is good. I do think, like I said at the beginning, that you probably should have used your voice for the attention device instead. Your eye contact is not bad at all. I think that even though you have notes, you're not overly dependent on them. You're going to watch your speech, and you're going to notice this because I'm going to point it out to you right now, and it's going to irritate you. You probably already know what's going on. You are swaying constantly through the speech. You are shifting your weight from one foot to the other, kind of like I'm going to duck it. Yeah, like a boxer might do. Duck and jab and that kind of stuff, and you're moving around a lot, and it just looks like you are so uncomfortable while you're speaking. Like you need to be in charge and be authoritative in this situation. And if you want to step forward to emphasize a point, that's fine. But when you're watching it, it just looks like you can't get settled. Like all of your nervous anxiety is coming out that way. And so that's something that you'll want to work on in the future. Pay attention to when you have to do a presentation down the road. When you practice, force yourself to watch yourself do the practice, and then you'll start noticing those things and start heading them off. All right, thanks.